Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be spending some time on the Pacific Power EPTS-75A-3. We'll begin the video by going over a little bit about the unit, then we'll move to the connections on the front and the back, and then finally we'll go ahead and get the equipment started up and take a brief look at the software. The EPTS-75A-3 is a three-phase switch designed for immunity testing to IEC 61000-4-11 and IEC 61000-4-34 up to 75 amps. This system is fully compliant, meeting the rise and fall time requirements. The EPTS series also supports DC voltage dips in accordance with IEC 61000-4-29. The EPTS series of switches are limited to 480 volts line to line and only for Y power. If delta is used, damage will occur to the switch. There's a few different models available. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the documentation briefly. Alright, here's page 8 of the data sheet for the EPTS series of switches. You can see they come in variations for both single and three-phase up to 100 amps. We have our EPTS not rack mounted for today's video. However, they can also be ordered rack mounted with other equipment, providing a more complete test solution. We're looking at the EPTS-75A-3 for today's video, which allows for testing up to 75 amps per phase, designed for three-phase applications. You can see right next to the description, there is also a size indicated. The unit we're looking at for today's video is a 5U unit. Let's go ahead now. Let's take a little closer look at the front of the system. Here's the front of the EPTS-75A-3 switch. Let's go ahead and let's start in the upper left-hand corner and let's work our way right. In the upper left-hand corner, we have the off-on switch. Next to that, we have 4 different series of boxes. The first of which is mode. This indicates if the switch is active for testing or if it's in bypass mode. There is also an LED to indicate remote control of the system. Next to that, we have 3 additional boxes, Phase A, Phase B, and Phase C, which are all very much the same. These have indicators for AC mains and source mains, as well as phase sync air indicators. When the system is operational, we would expect both the AC mains and AC source lights to be active. That should complete the front. Let's go ahead, let's get the unit turned around and take a look at the back. Here's the back of the EPTS-75A-3 switch. Let's go ahead and let's start in the upper left-hand corner and let's work our way right. In the upper left-hand corner, we have the input power. To the right of that, we have the USB and aux I/O connections. The USB connection goes to the control computer, and the aux I/O connection will be going to our Pacific Power AFX unit. As we work our way right, we have the AC mains input, AC source input, and AC output. Let's go ahead now and make the necessary connections and spend some time on the software. Here's the EPTS test GUI. Prior to using the software to conduct testing, communication needs to be set up with the source and the switch, which is done using the interface tab in the upper left corner. Right now, we're looking at the test setup tab, and you can see there's 2 main sections. At the top, we have test settings, and then at the bottom, we have our user information and test conditions. In the test settings, in the upper left-hand corner, we have the expected mains and our nominal settings. The voltage values are entered in line to neutral voltage levels, not line to line, within this section. Working our way right, we have the phase mode and output selection. As we mentioned earlier, the unit we're using for today's video can only be used for 3-phase testing, so we have that selected. In the middle row, we have the test standards, test modes, and calibration. As you can see in the test standards section, there's options for IEC 61000-4-11, IEC 61000-4-34, IEC 61000-4-29, as well as other tests below those. Next to that, we have test modes and calibration. When in bypass mode, the switch is not active. You can see right now we do have it in DIPS mode. There are two options in the calibration section for voltage and phase shift, which needs to be calibrated each time the equipment is disconnected. We'll walk through that process more in a later video. On the bottom half of the test setup page, we have the user information and test conditions, where these different fields can be filled in. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the Dips and Interruptions tab. Here's the Dips and Interruptions tab. Along the top, we have the values from the Test Setup tab, which we selected. And below that, we have the labels for the different testing criteria. We won't walk through all the different testing criteria today. However, if you do want some additional information on those, you can go ahead and reference the user manual. Keep in mind too that these criteria can be modified by simply selecting the value and changing it. So if we look at step 1, and you can see we have phase drop selected as A. If we change that, we can just double click it and then change the value if we want to change it to B. All right, now looking towards the bottom, you can see we have our system synced and it is operational. We have that indicated with our green box in the lower left-hand corner. Below that, you can see we have our test sequence labeled. All the way on the right, we have a series of buttons for load, abort, and run. And below that, save, view report, as well as generate test. The most common test routines are already pre-programmed in and can be accessed by clicking the load button. Individual testing criteria can also be changed, as we showed earlier, by selecting and modifying the value. All right, that should complete the video today on the Pacific Power EPTS-75A-3 switch. We began the video by walking through a little bit about the system. Then we took a look at the front and the back of the unit. And then finally, we spent some time on the EPTS test software. We hope this video has been useful, and please keep us in mind if you ever need to rent the Pacific Power EPTS-75A-3.